Let's jump off the diamond, go to the gridiron. NFL football, 5 weeks in. Who's for real? What do we know in the NFL?
We know absolutely nothing, and I feel like this is one of those weird NFL years where you're going to get teams that jump out of the gate really fast, like, the Bills and the Broncos, and people are going to wonder, are these teams for real?
Right.
The Broncos have nothing resembling a defense, lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, and yet they're sitting 4-1.
Leading the division.
In a division with the Chiefs, the Raiders, and a San Diego team that has
lost the Dolphins.
Looks like only a fragment of LT that's coming off a loss to the Dolphins. So really anything's possible. The only two teams that I think are absolutely for real right now are unfortunately in the same division, which bodes a little bit difficult for them. That would be the Washington Redskins and the New York Giants.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are an absolute juggernaut. They're looking just like the team that won the Super Bowl last year. They can't be stopped on offense. Their defense is an absolute terror. Imagine if they still had Osa Umenyiora, who's out for the year with a broken leg.
Yeah, all those losses they had and the distractions. You got the Burris suspension. What do? They go to Seattle. They put up all those points without Burris, and what do you know? They're 4-0.
This is a really good football team. And Chris, I'm going to make one note on the Washington Redskins right now. I worked down in D.C. this summer. I followed this team very closely. A new coach. A new offense. This is Jason Campbell's seventh
Zorn?
offense.
Who?
Right,
Who?
Jim Zorn.
Never heard of
Jim
him.
Zorn. Seventh offense in 8 years for a guy like Jason Campbell to be able to process it this quickly.
Give him credit.
6 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's throwing the ball well. Clinton
Very
Portis
good.
is running. The line is blocking. John Jansen, Michigan
Portis
guy
finally
there
looks
on that
healthy.
line.
Yeah.
And Chris, 5 games in, they've already played every single team from the NFC East
On the road.
Lost to the Giants, but beat Dallas, beat Philly. So that's a pretty easy-looking schedule for them. Chris, they have St. Louis, Cleveland, Detroit, and Pittsburgh up before their bye.
Detroit's going to be tough.
Yeah, we'll see. Pittsburgh's the only game right there that I could really see them, posing a problem. But this is a really good football team.
Pittsburgh really impressed me too. The way they went back to Jacksonville on the road this past weekend, won that game. They had some business.
A team that's owned them pretty recently.
Yeah, they had some business back from January.
So we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll be talking some more NFL in the weeks
that's
to come.
down the road.
Things will start to sort themselves out. Chris, this may be a first on You Say Maize, I Say Lou. In all the years we've been doing this show, I don't know if you and I have ever talked WNBA. Last time we talked women's basketball was when I had my coughing spree.
Oh, right. That was way back
for me because I had that bug in my throat. So I'm going to try to get through some of this, but we'll start right now. Does this really matter to the city of Detroit? I mean, it's a title, is it not?
It is, and this is huge because, it's a championship, and that's what the people of Detroit live for. 3 titles in 6 years for the team, going back to 2003 and 2006. Katie Smith, the MVP. Plus, I think what truly is so great about this story is what they had to go through to win this championship, Danny. They had to go through injuries. Cheryl Ford got hurt in that brawl.
Yeah,
they had to go through that. Then they had, the suspensions that resulted from that brawl. And then they had to, make a trade for Taj McWilliams-Franklin to fill the void left by the big and Ford.
WNBA analyst Chris Cichon.
I'm telling you, McWilliams-Franklin used to play for the Orlando Miracle, who no longer exists. I used to go to a few Miracle games back in the day. But
I'm sure you did.
How about Bill Laimbeer and the job that he's done? I mean, he just comes in there, sets the tone for this organization, brings his bad boys mentality, and look at him. He's got his girls playing dirty, playing physical, getting rebounds, and they sweep the series. Bad girls.
Against the San Antonio team.
Yeah.
The Spurs obviously had their little, luck against their Pistons, if you want to call it that, a few years ago. So good win for the city of Detroit.
Very good.
Unfortunately, the games were played in Ypsilanti.
Yeah, that was weird, right? Played at Eastern Michigan.
Hey, it's a title for a team that has Detroit in front of their name. Congratulations, ladies.
And finally, touching on another sport here in Hot Topics, the last one for this episode, Danny, the NHL. Did you know that it started last weekend?
I did, but only because I currently live with one Peter Saul, who some may know as the producer of Wolf Overtime.
Where was it at again?
Stockholm and Prague. I mean, I could make this into a little rant here, but if you're the NHL and you're trying to lure in fans, I think you'd be pretty wise to market the start of your season. I mean, Did you know the NHL started?
I had no idea.
You see the preseason lines scroll across the bottom of the screen, and you have no idea that the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Rangers are playing 2 games in Prague, and that the Ottawa Senators and the Pittsburgh Penguins are playing 2 games in Stockholm.
Yeah.
I feel like you could do a much better job marketing that to your stateside fans, especially when you're trying to grow your sports popularity. But that's just my personal call out to get.
My thing is this. I mean,
NHL
is already so far off the public scope, especially in October when you got football, baseball, the World Series, basketball is coming up. How much difference would it really make if they did market it?
The NHL has done one good thing lately, and that's those games that they bring outside.
The New Year's Day games. I was going to say, awesome idea.
Buffalo up at Ralph Wilson.
Wrigley Field this year.
I think they should have done that to open the start of their season because, let's be real, Chris, who was watching when New York and Tampa and Ottawa and Buffalo squared off this weekend?
Nobody was, but I mean, hey,
you'd be very hard pressed.
You're going to take away Wrigley Field on New Year's Day? I mean, it's tough call. They don't have much to work with.
I mean, it's tough to do, but I feel like if you put these
tough to be
opening
the
games
NHL.
outdoors, they could have done a better job marketing it. At least we have the Red Wings here in Detroit.
A little bit of overflow there on NHL, Danny.
And we're going to be talking more hockey when we come right back. We have our main
great.
event guest, Peter Saul, coming up, so stick around.